Do you sometimes feel like your day, your life is spiraling out of control with chronic stress that never seems to lessen? What if you could change that? And what if you could change it so easily you would be absolutely amazed? Today, I'm going to help you unravel the effect of stress. Not only what it's doing, but get to the core. Because once you do that, everything changes in an instant. You have an amazing brain. This part of your brain tracks everything that causes you to feel unsafe. And this is where you have all your logic, where you can be creative, learn, make decisions, execute. And you know what? When you're under chronic stress, this isn't operating very often, and you're back here. So, what exactly causes this part of the brain to get so activated? It's when we feel like our world, our life is unfamiliar, unpredictable, unknown, and that spiked in 2020. Our world changed, and today, what we go through in 3 months used to take 10 years. Change and stress has become chronic, and it comes at a price. What is that price? It's really pretty simple. It's pretty much everything you're experiencing. Everything from lack of focus and memory, poor digestion, your gut health, inflammation, which is at the root of all disease and causes you to age rapidly. This is happening to people all over the place. And you know what? When you're in that kind of overwhelm, you're not looking to make a bazillion diet changes, lifestyle changes. It takes too much energy, and you simply don't have it. You know, as a naturopath and wisdom coach, one of the things I say all the time, if it's not easy, it's too hard. And as I have looked for many options over the last several years since 2020 to help our clients get out of this mad rush of overwhelm, I have found that you can tame overwhelm rapidly. Are you ready to discover how to do that? When you're under that kind of overwhelm, it's not your circumstances that are the problem. It's everything going on here in your brain saying you're not safe. And overwhelm becomes a constant companion. I've seen that in hundreds, if not thousands, of clients in the last several years. And I have looked for so many things that would help them. And as I would recommend things, they'd look at me with that glazed look like, I don't have the energy or capacity for that, Cheryl. So I kept looking and looking and looking. And something came in the door that I wasn't looking for it. It was looking for me to answer all the questions that my clients were asking me for. How can I find peace and calm? And once I discovered the super patch process, these little patches, at first I was like, I don't think that's worth anything. But then I had the foresight to listen to a surgeon who explained how they work with her patients who are dealing with surgery. Surgery is the leading colorectal surgeon in the United States. And what she said was like, you're kidding me. The brain, the gut, the vagus nerve, which is monitoring all of that stress we just talked about. When you put all of that in order, everything changes. So I began to experiment. I experimented with these little patches on myself first, because I always do that, and then with clients. And here's what I found: there's no ingredients to react to at all. There's no contraindications, so you can do it before, after surgeries, with meds. Doesn't interfere with any of that. It's so safe. It's okay for pregnant women and children, and that's on the Super Patch website. That's a big deal, because when it comes to supplements, it's always don't give to pregnant women. So that made this extraordinarily safe. But I thought, how exactly is it working? Well, having had a history and a lot of experience in neurology in the last 10 years, once I understood how it worked, I was like, this makes sense. When you peel the backing off of these little patches, there's little ridges on there, and you put it on your skin. Your skin is the biggest receptor of information in your entire body. That signal contained in those little ridges instantly goes to your nervous system and to your brain. And it instantly puts that stress pathway in this particular patch, which I'm going to show you, instantly into balance, as evidenced with EEG testing. Yes, the peace patch. This is what your brain is hungering for, is peace and calm. So when you put this patch on, you're giving that information to the brain and everything calms down. And I certainly experienced that with me, but then I began to hear the stories. Oh, the stories. They bring joy to my heart because these are real people who have been struggling, and all of a sudden they're getting phenomenal, phenomenal results. Let me just read this one because her words say it so well. Good news, Cheryl, on the Peace Patch. I went through airports to and from Colorado with no panic attacks. Now, I've worked with this woman for probably 10 years. And when she goes into stress, what I discovered, what I talked about earlier, then she would end up with hormone problems and all kinds of skin reactions. And we'd gotten all of that taken care of until she'd have a stress episode. But here's what's happening as she started wearing the Peace Patch. Airplanes cause panic attacks for me, to the point where flight attendants think I'm having seizures. They're that bad. I've struggled with crowds at times, but I was able to go through the airport, go through all those crowds, be on an airplane, peace and calm. That's pretty profound. But it doesn't just stop with airports and with people. Let's look at a few more stories. This one was, I don't know about any of you, but have you ever noticed at mealtime there's a lot of stress? This person wrote in and said, as a couple, we have so much more stress wearing the Peace Patch. Our family meals are calmer, work becomes manageable, and we're starting to like each other better. That's a pretty big deal. And how about children? This was a little girl on the spectrum who had tremendous difficulty in communicating. When she and her grandmother came over and we put that little Peace Patch on her back, her mom was doing some other things, and when they got ready to leave, she looked at me and said, goodbye. You may not think that's a big deal, but for a child on the spectrum that doesn't hardly ever speak, that was a big deal. Usually she would be hiding behind her grandmother, but not today. She walked out confidently, bye. Those things really touch my heart. Well, what about restless children? A mother I worked with had a child who just couldn't sleep. We tried lots of things, even this sleep patch called REM. Nothing really particularly was helping. And she'd had a lot of skin issues again. Skin issues tend to go with this stress. And her mom said, we decided to try the Peace Patch. They put it on her back, the back of her neck, right back here. And it's safe for children. You just want to make sure if it's little kids, you want it where they can't take it off and put it in their mouth. Within seconds, this little girl calmed down and said, Mommy, just give me a little rub. And she was asleep within minutes. You know how much that can change not only that child's life, but her mom, her dad, her family, the entire family, that she's not up or crying or restless. Stressed adults. I've worked with adults where you can just see the stress. Their pupils are dilated, they're intense, their hands are clammy, they can't sleep, they're unable to focus. When they put the Peace Patches on, they're looking at me, she's a practitioner, and said, is this what peace and calm feels like? Yes, and it's pretty amazing, isn't it? You know, those are just the tip of the iceberg of the stories that I have heard and experienced with peace. This isn't about changing all of your lifestyle. It's not about changing all that you eat. It's not about a perfect exercise program. Are all of those things helpful? Of course they are. But when you're stuck back here in overwhelm and stress, you don't have capacity to go there. But you do have capacity to peel off a backing and put this little patch anywhere on your body. You want to put it where there's no nerve damage. So if there's been a stroke or injury, scar tissue, don't put it where there's scar tissue damage. Don't put it where there's lots of hair. Put it where your skin is dry and smooth. It can be here or back here, top of your legs, your buttocks. Play, notice, discover. What works for you may be different for someone else. But once you put it on, just see if you can take a nice deep breath, because you are unraveling all that stress has been doing to you. It's not your circumstances. It's not everything going on around you. It's what's happening here. And you now have an answer for you, for your family, for the people you care about, and you can change things that fast. And that, to me, as a naturopath, wisdom coach, wife, mom, individual, it's one of the best gifts that I can give to you. So look down below in the description, talk to the person who sent you to this video, but don't waste another moment or day stuck up here. Get relief and walk into peace and calm.